You're watching us here on Mid Cap Radar. I'm Manglam Malu. With me is Vivek Iyer. The mid caps are definitely on our radar. Let's talk about all the top stories that we're tracking.
Quite a lot lined up on the show today. It's a hectic show, and as you can see on the top of your screen, it's a green screen. Markets track gain with broader markets outperforming large cap IT. Pharma and healthcare lag, while PSU banks, consumer durables, and banks post gains.
Kalyan Jewellers shines as 6.4% of the company's equity has changed hands. Sources indicate that this is a clean-out trade from Warburg Pincus, with promoters picking up some of the stake, the residual picked up by institutions.
TVS Motors surges after launching the Jupiter 110cc scooter. The new entrant will cost 73,700 rupees ex-showroom price.
Shyam Metallics surges over 6% as UBS initiates coverage with a buy call, a target price of 1,200 rupees, implying an upside of over 60%. It cites high profit growth prospects among other triggers.
Transformers and rectifiers gains in trade after winning multiple export orders worth 141 crore rupees, in line with the company's strategy to have exports account for 25% of its order book by FY26.
Right, we're talking about mid-cap radar. Don't lose sight of the big caps, though. The Nifty at one point was looking to break that 24,850 mark, but turns out there is some sort of supply which has come in on the frontline index from the highs of today's trading session. Where has that surprise come from? Surprise, surprise. It's not the Nifty Bank. The Nifty Bank is still holding steady upwards of that 51,000 mark. Pull up the intraday chart of the Nifty IT services and you'll watch out for that being at the lowest end of today's trading range so far, and that's the one that is putting some bit of pressure on the Nifty itself. Another pocket of pressure is coming in from ITC, which too is a fair weight on the index. So ITC too has moved to the low point of trade, but that's being offset by another big weight, which is Reliance, which is now moved towards the higher end of today's trading range again. It's been a good session so far. It's been a good week for Reliance as well, which has now moved marginally into the green.
Well, all eyes on Reliance, ahead of the AGM, it'll be important to track what exactly are the announcements that come in over there. One more segment of the market that's doing quite well is actually the cement pack. After underperforming for the last few weeks, today, mid-cap cement especially has picked up a bit of steam. Have a look at names like Dalmia Bharat as well as Ramco Cement. Both of the stocks today higher in the session. But quite a lot of stocks will be on Hormaz's radar. This is our special segment, Mid-Cap Movers. Hormaz is at the wall to take us to the mid-caps that are moving around the session.
Plenty of them, and there is enough and more news flow to keep you busy throughout the day, even if the markets have remained sluggish through the week. Man, Shyam Metallics is the one that I'd want to start off for. Among the top gainers within the broader markets, UBS coming out with an initiation note, although it's significantly off the highs of the day, almost at the lowest point now, but still trading with gains of 5.5%. Natco Pharma is having a good day, as is Fact, but of course, Fact has barely any float in the market. We need to keep that in mind. And of course, IDBI Bank also. PSU banks are having a good session today. Plenty of block deals that took place in today's session this morning in the block window as well as after market open. Kalyan Jewellers now 8% higher. PNB Housing seeing a bit of supply coming in at around 3% lower there. Eris Life also almost 7% equity changed hands. That is seeing a bit of an impact in today's session. Some more stocks that have been buzzing around in today's trading session, and those are the ones that are driven by news flow. IREDA ahead of the board meeting. The management mentioned earlier they plan to raise around 4,500 crores. Board meeting on the 29th, 10% higher now. We are getting used to seeing that at one point of time, but it's been a while since we saw such a move. And Transformers and rectifiers also, after the order win, is locked in an upper circuit. Stocks doing well on the back of volumes, and they'll come up on your screen. And Varroc Engineering now the top gainer on the Nifty 500, 12% higher, as is LG Equipments, 4.5%, and Alkyl Amines also doing well on very strong volumes. And lastly, some of the other stocks that are making news today, the buyback names. Aarti Drugs announced a buyback, as did Transport Corp, both off the highs but still trading with gains of around 8%. And Nucleus Software, the buyback was only at a 6% premium. The impact seen in the stock price today. Back to you guys.
Take that point entirely. Nucleus Software over the last couple of trading sessions had already seen a rally of almost 30%. So a fair amount of optimism was built in ahead of the details of the buyback. Not only the price, even the size, the street, the acceptance ratio is close to around 1.6, 1.7 odd percent, which, is telling you the kind of sharp profit taking that we're seeing on names like Nucleus Software as well. Just a couple of stocks before we go across to Samit Chauhan as well. Raymond is one of them, which has seen a big move. Most of it coming by in just the last 3 or 4 minutes or so. Just pull up the intraday chart of Raymond. You'd see the stock is up around 8%. There you have it. It's surging with decent volumes. Remember, we had the management join us yesterday as well, talk about the lifestyle business listing in the next couple of weeks, and also for the own business itself. There would be good offtake for the realty business and doubling of revenue in their engineering business over the next couple of years. And the other one is Jubilant and Graveyard. That too is up around 8%, seeing a big move. Nucleus Software, of course, is seeing some profit taking after the details of the buyback have come by. But good time to bring in Samit Chavan of Angel One for a quick technical check. Samit, seems like some bit of consolidation at higher levels for the Nifty. What is your call on the indices and individual stocks?
Yes, good afternoon, Mangalam. This has been a steady, week for our markets. If you see, in last couple of weeks, markets were a bit sluggish. There were a lot of, geopolitical concerns also that were hampering the overall sentiments. But this week, it has been a steady move. Nifty has managed to reclaim its important level of 24,800. Now, the only deciding factor here would be Bank Nifty. So more than Nifty, our focus would be on Bank Nifty. It's been a one day up, one day down for Bank Nifty as of now. Day before yesterday, we saw a promising move from Bank Nifty. Yesterday, it was sulking a bit, and now today again, it has taken a charge. So from here on, it would be important to see whether Bank Nifty manages to surpass 51,200 or not. So if Bank Nifty sustains above 51,200 for a day or two, it is likely to provide that much needed impetus that that is clearly missing in last couple of days. If that happens, then we could see Nifty reclaiming 25,000 soon, and then probably heading toward 25,200, 25,300. So deciding factor would be Bank Nifty, and the level to watch out for would be around 51,200 for Bank.
Okay, Samit, what are your top picks for the day?
We like cement space, and I guess you also had highlighted about how cement space is buzzing today. So we like Ramco Cement. Stock has been consolidating since a long time, and today it has shown some signs of revival. So it seems that after forming a strong base around 800, 780 kind of zone, this stock is now finally prepared to come out of its long condition phase. If you look at the volumes, this breakout has come with sizable volume, so that provides some sort of credence to the move. Hence, we like Ramco Cement. Immediate, with a short-term view, we expect 860 for this middle counter. But once 860, 865 is taken out, the stock can head towards 890, 895 in a quick succession. So Ramco Cement looks good. As a trader, one can keep a stop around 880. The other buy would be, overall, if you see FMCG space has been doing well. Yesterday also we saw most of the FMCG counters buzzing toward the latter of the session. So Tata Consumer Product, we seem to have completed its time-wise as well as prime-wise correction, formed a good base around 1180, 1170, and since morning, the stock is showing good traction. So we like Tata Consumer for a target of 1240. As a trader, one should keep a stop around 1190.
All right, decent traction in Tata Consumer among the top Nifty gainers as well. Samit, just before we let you go, do you have a call on Raymond? Because the stock is suddenly, swum into everyone's radar because of the big volume and price action that we've seen in the last few minutes. Nearly 3 times daily average volumes is what we're seeing on Raymond today.
See, we do not have specific recommended as such, but overall, if you see, this is known for its high beta moves. Stock seems to have completed its recent price correction, a decent price correction, 20-25% correction in last month, and so the kind of volume activity that we are witnessing, it seems that the stock is likely to head toward 2100, 2120 first, and once 2100 is taken out, well, it's a swing high, recent swing high. So once 2100, 2120 is taken out, we could see the stock surging towards 2200 plus levels.
Thank you so much for that, Samir. Let's now slip into a short break. We'll get you more on the markets and put the focus on transformers and rectifiers, Shyam Metallics, as well as Emphasis, all of the stocks which are buzzing in today's trading session. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Midcap Radar. As we promised, this is our special segment, Midcap Spotlight. Vamakshi today will focus on transformers and rectifiers India, which is buzzing on the back of multiple order wins. Vamakshi, over to you.
Well, absolutely. The stock is in focus after two export orders have come through for the company worth almost 141 crores or $16.8 million. The first one is an export order worth almost $14 million or 118 crores from Linxon Global Sweden. This is for supply of 18 trackside traction transformers and 55 trackside auto transformers, and this entire work will be completed by October 2025. The second one is an export order worth 23 crores from ArcelorMittal Mexico. This is for supply of an electrical arc furnace transformer which will be completed by December 24. Overall, this bodes well for the company, and that is because they had a very strong inquiry pipeline. Conversions have started, so that bodes well. It is also in line with the company's strategy to have an order book of nearly 25%, which accounts for exports, and the export orders generally come with a better margin. So from a margin perspective as well, this bodes well for the company. So given all of those factors, we have Trill up in trade today.
Trill is providing everyone with that thrill, Vamakshi. Thank you so much for that. But Shyam Metallics is the other one which is a higher as well. UBS has initiated coverage on this stock with a buy rating and a tall target price. Nigel joins in with details of that one. The stock still holding with gains of about 5% after a big move that it's on in the morning.
Well, that's right. UBS has initiated coverage on Shyam Metallics, and they have a target price of around 1,200 rupees a share. Now, they are valuing the company at around 8 times EV per EBITDA. The EBITDA that they're factoring in is for FY26-27, and on that multiple, they're giving it an 8 times multiple. But they're factoring in that the EBITDA growth from year on, that's between 2024 to 2027, well, it will compound at a rate of around 39%. So they're expecting a big upside from current EBITDA levels. What makes the company stand out? Well, according to them, they say that the pragmatic approach to focus on the value chain. They've also focused on diversifying products as well as metals, and their backward integration. That's what's going to hold them in good stead. Well, that's the qualitative aspect. But on the quantitative aspect, there are three big factors that they have stated. One is on the value-added products as a percentage of revenue as well as EBITDA. Currently, it's at around 57 to around 61%. They're expecting that number to go to the high 60s. Higher value-added products means better margins. And so they're expecting the ROCE to move from around 22% to around 28% by 2027. And finally, the EBITDA per ton, as of yesterday's close, they believe that the markets were factoring in an EBITDA per ton of roughly around 3,700 rupees. But they are factoring in a number of more than 6,000 rupees by 2027. Put all this together, UBS believes that that Shyam Metallics is well placed, and that's why they have a target price of around 1,200 rupees per share. Back to you.
Thank you so much for that, Nigel. Shyam Metallics doing very well in the session today. The next stock on our radar is Mphasis. The stock is trading in the green as brokerage firm Nuvama has upgraded the stock to a buy rating. Reema is here with more details.
Thanks so much for that. So as you pointed out, Nuvama has upgraded Mphasis because they say that Mphasis is at an inflection point. Now, the same factors that led to Mphasis underperforming the industry in the market for the last 2 years are now likely to reverse, and Mphasis will likely outperform. And therefore, they've gone ahead and upgraded the EPS estimates. The target valuation multiple has also gone up to 30 times. They've upgraded the stock to a buy with a target price of 3,500, so a significant upside from current levels. Now, they go back to that point that how this stock has been an underperformer. It's had a couple of lackluster years. So in FY23, its revenue growth was just 7.8%. In FY24, it reported negative growth. And even this year, it's likely to report a mid-single digit kind of growth. And the key reason for this lackluster performance over the last few years was high interest rates in the US, which hurt its BFS business, that's banking and financial services, which is about 47% of its revenues, and the mortgage business, which is about 6%. But now that US is likely to enter into a rate-cutting cycle, the mortgage business will recover, and even the company's top client, which is a banking and financial services client, recently announced very high technology spends for calendar year 2024. So as they said, the stock appears to be at an inflection point. They've upgraded the stock to a buy, and they say it's the perfect proxy for the interest rate cycle in the US. Back to you.
Right, so that's about Mphasis, up around 1.5%. Some block trade taking place in Eureka Forbes, as the bottom of the screen tells you that. Small percentage changing hands, and the stock has seen a bit of a spike on account of that volume increasing as well. Take a short break, come back, get you more of the markets. A lot of stock-specific action lined up for you. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to Mid-Cap Radar. Well, Mangalam's been looking at a sector that's been shining, all through 2024. Mangalam, you've been tracking all of the jewelry stocks, and some of them have given whopping returns this year itself. What's keeping them alive in the session?
Well, a fair amount of news, a lot of fundamental reasons, and some, technical reasons as well, keeping the jewelry stocks buzzing. So if I was just looking at, Kalyan Jewellers, which is up around 8%. Why is that up around 8% today? That's largely because of the large trade that took place, a clean-out trade from Warburg Pincus. So on the one hand, a large seller is now out of the way. On the second hand, who are the buyers? The buyers are promoters. Typically over the last few days, we've seen promoters go ahead and offer their stake. But here's a rarity where the promoters bought the stake from the PE. Then the others were also bought by institutions. And that's largely, one can say, because the deal took place in the block deal window and where institutions are allowed to participate. So sellers out of the way, strong buyers coming in, keeps Kalyan Jewellers higher. But if you look at all the other jewelry stocks as well, from the start of this year, barring the leader, which has been a bit of an underperformer, and we'll get to reasons why, Thangamayil is up, 27%, Kalyan Jewellers 63%, PC Jeweller out of nowhere, up 133% as well. What is the thesis here? The thesis is that the jewelry industry is getting into organized. Titan, of course, was the front runner of that, but now it's accruing to other players as well. Organized sector was close to 22% of the industry earlier. Now it's around 38%, and it's growing at 2 to 2.5 times the industry average itself. That's reflected in the kind of growth that we've seen in the last 6 months for all these companies as well. Revenue growth of anywhere between 27 to 30% across the board. Yes, some have seen margin compression, but some have also seen margin improvement. But that still doesn't answer the question, why is PC Jeweller up 133%? So I was looking at their numbers. The last quarter numbers itself indicated a turnaround. 68 crore revenue turned into over 400 crores. The EBITDA loss of 43 crore turned into a gain of 50 crores as well. And there was a sharp reduction in finance costs. Profits also turned into over 100 crores versus a loss of 172 crores. What is it that they're doing for their balance sheet? I was looking through some of the exchange notifications that they've made. They've submitted an offer for one-time settlement to 14 banks. 13 out of those 14 have actually approved that offer. So, they're trying to settle the debt positions with their banks, and additionally they've also gotten shareholders approval to raise 2,700 crore via warrants, so they will get more cash on their books as well. The question is, what is it that they do with it? Because PC Jewellers in the past has been notorious for being a big wealth destroyer. Right. Can they get it right this time or not is the big question.
Well, that's a deep dive into the entire jewelry space, and PC Jewellers and eye-popping, more than doubling this year itself. That's a very strong up move. The next company on our radar is REC. Earlier today, we caught up with the company's CMD, Vivek Kumar Diwangan. He expects disbursements of 1.9 lakh crore rupees in FY25. Now also expects legacy dues to be liquidated by May 2026. Listen in.
In the current financial year, in quarter one, our disbursement was 43,652 against quarter one of last year of 34,133 crore, which has shown an increase of 28%. So we are quite confident that this disbursement will increase further and will be able to achieve disbursement to the tune of about 1,90,000 crore in the current financial year. With regard to asset under management, last year our asset under management had grown by 17% from 4,35,000 crore to 5,09,000 crore. In the Q1 of the current financial year, our asset under management has grown to 5,30,000 crore. So, in the quarter, if we compare Q1 year-on-year basis, our AUM has increased by 17%. So we hope that we'll be able to clock total asset under management to the tune of about 5,85,000 crore to about 6 lakh crore. In between this figure, we'll be able to achieve. Ministry of Power had also introduced this late payment surcharge rule, which was notified in June 2022. Thereafter, the distribution companies have been clearing the dues of transmission companies and generating companies. Current dues are being paid regularly, and the legacy dues are getting cleared in equity monthly installment maximum for a period of 4 years. So it started from June 2022. By the end of May 2026, we hope that all these legacy dues of Gencos and transmission companies would be liquidated. We are targeting growth of about 17% in our asset under management. And by the end of 2030, we are targeting asset under management to the tune of about 10 lakh crore. And we are giving a special focus on renewable energy projects, covering the entire gamut of renewable energy projects, be it solar, wind, hybrid solar, wind, the solar module manufacturing, wind turbine manufacturing, storage system, be it battery energy storage or pump storage, hydro projects, green hydrogen, green ammonia, electric vehicle, and the associated charging infrastructure. Right now, as you rightly pointed out, our loan book for renewable energy sector is about 43,000 crore. This will see a substantial jump in next 5 to 6 years. By the year 2030, we are targeting renewable energy portfolio about 3 lakh crore.
All right, renewable portfolio of over 3 lakh crores. Just keep an eye out on the cement space. Vivek had pointed that out earlier itself. Now it's picking some more pace. So JK Cement is one of them, which has now moved to the high point of trade. But that's not the only management we caught up with. We also spoke with Route Mobile this morning. The strategy officer, Gautam Badalia, expects volume growth of 10 to 12% and steady average realizations in this year itself. Let's hear him out too.
18 to 22% guidance that we have given for the year. I mean, it is, while it is conservative and in the past, always kind of delivered better than that. But I think this is, again, I mean, the best growth that I think in the CPaaS industry anybody is kind of talking about. And we are able to kind of allude to this kind of a growth trajectory, largely because of the global platform that we have. I think we're clocking, I mean, we are in the vicinity of the 12.5-13%. And this Proximus transaction will also entail a little bit of related party transactions, which will happen at about our EBITDA margin level. So it will be kind of a little dilutive on the EBITDA margin. So hence, we have kind of maintained that we will stick to the similar EBITDA margin that we are clocking today. So they're about the 12.5-13%. So we should be able to do the 13%. In terms of the billable transactions, I think we anticipate kind of early teen kind of a growth, I mean 10-12% kind of a volume growth. And in terms of the realization, I think it should steady around the current levels. We don't see any significant changes to the average realization.
Well, some very interesting comments coming in from the management there, but that's all the time we have on this edition of Midcap Radar Mutual Fund Corner. When we return.